This episode of the Chris Konya Show is brought to you by Murphy's Law. They're having a Halloween party, October 31st. It's on East and Alexander, that Murphy's Law, because there are a couple of them, and there's only one reason that a place branches out to other locations, because it's a ton of fun. Murphy's Law, East and Alexander, for their Halloween party. Costumes are highly encouraged, but of course, not mandatory. I'll be there emceeing the Halloween party, and get this, at midnight on Halloween. You know what that means? The end of Sober October. So if you're doing Sober October, that's the night to celebrate, because at midnight we can have a drink, some shots, some beers, tons of fun. I'll be emceeing. Also, I will be doing a show from there. So if you want to be on the show, you come on upstairs and do a couple minutes, sit in on mic, the whole shebang. So Halloween night, Murphy's Law, East and Alexander, for the party and for the podcast. We'll see you there. How do you want me to say your name? Joel James, right?
Not want you to say my name. That's my name is Joel James.
Why isn't it Joel?
Because I'm not white.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking the same thing.
So this is my thing that I have. My family's from the Bahamas, and we're everywhere in the world though. It's pronounced Joel. Only white Americans say Joel. It's only a white American thing.
Do you think that's a Billy Joel thing? Do you think he started that misconception or Americanizing it maybe?
No, I just think Joel is a white American name, and that's fine. And that's okay. So everywhere in the world, like where my family doesn't even know how to say Joel. It doesn't even come off the tongue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, wouldn't that be Jole, Joel? But Billy,
yeah,
you know?
And even in the Bible, when it says Joel, the way it's pronounced, it's Joel.
Is that why we say Jesus Cristo?
Exactly.
Americans ruin everything.
Right. White Americans.
So, okay. Well, Jesus wasn't white, was he?
I don't know. I
feel like I just did like a fuzzy wuzzy was a bear thing. Jesus was he? Was he? What's up, Joel? How's it going?
What's going on? Congratulations to you. I'm glad that I get to. Am I the first interview in the new setup?
You are.
Well, good. We're going in the right direction already.
Going up.
But this is amazing. This is so good. So I can't wait to see you excel.
I appreciate that. I see that you're doing big things. I first met you beyond being Facebook or Instagram or social media friends at an open mic a couple of years ago. You are a comedian.
Yeah.
You're doing very well, I think, for the last couple of years that I've been paying attention to you.
Yeah.
So meeting you at open mic was cool. You were very in a community here in Rochester where it's very cliquey. You came over and you introduced yourself and you gave some feedback and you told me I was funny, which is really cool because.
Oh, so you did do stand up?
Open mic. I never got past an open mic aside from one friend getting me in on something for a favor.
Where was it at? Because it's such a. I remember talking to you guys afterwards, you and your girlfriend
Meredith, yeah.
And I just don't like it's almost like a dream.
Masons or Buddha Pub or Photo City. I think it was Masons, wasn't it?
So you've done a bunch of open mics.
Yeah, I tried them all. Or a Firehouse, one of those weekly ones. Nothing out of the ordinary.
And you were good, right?
You gave me a compliment.
Okay.
It was, I definitely had a lot to learn. It was fun to do, and I got some laughs, which is more than I can ask for going up for the first couple times. But as I'm watching more and more comedy and really dissecting it all, it's like everybody, I think it's kind of embarrassing what I talked about, how cheap I went for the laughs and stuff like that. But I don't regret it at all. It was fun, and I definitely want to try it again. I've been trying to write.
Yeah, because you have comedic timing, and you even like your Facebook statuses sound like a comedian.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think I've told everybody in my life, whether it's my family, girls that I've been in conversations with, relationships, that calling me funny is the best compliment ever. You could say I'm hardworking, handsome, organized, funny beats them all.
You know what? The funny thing about me is when people, like whenever I get into a lot of social media debates, the first thing people love to say, and you're not even that funny anyways. You're not funny. That does not bother me.
That doesn't
at all.
hurt?
Not even a little bit. But if I make some pasta and you don't like it, that hurts my feelings.
Really?
Yes.
Are you a bad cook?
No, I'm a great cook.
Oh, that's why it would offend you.
Right. And I'm very, very sensitive about my food. I'm I had a meal prep business, and the anxiety that I get from new customers and stuff, that I just can't even do it anymore.
Do you think that translates into comedy and the confidence you have, or at least portray, or have to portray in comedy? I am embarrassed and also proud of myself to say that I'm watching, it's a thing called Masterclass, and Judd Apatow did a masterclass where he's supposed to teach you comedy. Now, I know that I can't be taught comedy. Really, nobody can. But he talks about how you have to have confidence. You have to at least look and sound believable. Therefore, confidence is a huge factor in doing stand-up. Do you think that translates?
Yeah,
or mends with the cooking thing?
It doesn't mend with the cooking thing, but because yeah, you gotta have confidence that it's just whatever. Like, my thing about it is I'm not really a chef or whatever, because I don't care. Like, if I'm making a spicy dish and you don't eat spicy food, then you just can't eat. Like, I'm not gonna dumb it down for you. I'm not gonna that's just kind of, I don't really care. I do agree though with the confidence in the comedy. Is I could say that because I'm a person where people can't believe it, but I get so nervous. I have the worst nerves ever. Like, it's really messing me up, especially when I perform in New York City. It gets in my head. Like, I think, oh, they hate me, they don't like me, I'm nothing like these comedians. I'm the worst nerves ever.
What's worse, performing in front of a cold crowd, a crowd who hasn't seen anybody else, maybe the first one go up for the night, or performing in front of a bunch of other comedians or aspiring comedians? Actually, that's three choices: comedians, real comedians, aspiring comedians, and a cold crowd. I
don't care about comedians. Like, I'm not here for comedians. And I think that's what people don't realize. Like, I'm not here for you guys. I'm here for the audience, and that's it. So I don't get involved in all their whatever, or who's the best and who's this and who did that. I'm here for the audience, and that's what I focus on. But I would say, yeah. So I would say the cold audience, because that's who I'm trying to win over. I don't care if a comedian doesn't think I'm funny or whatever.
And that's what's tough about a small market like Rochester, or a smaller market, obviously, than New York City, is it's hard to get a real audience, or in front of a real audience. Yeah. I think, at least at first. Is that your experience? Yeah,
for sure. I think that people, it's kind of weird here, because I started out a long time ago in the Comics Cafe days, and maybe, like, I guess I've been doing it now for like 11 years. So the stand-up comedy scene in Rochester is so different from what it used to be. I don't know, and I've been kind of having conversations with people. I'm not sure if anyone wants to go outside. If they really want a prospering career as a comedian, or do they just want to be open mic comedians? I don't know, because no one really, like, everybody's like an open mic Nazi, and it's like, this is my mic and you can't do this, and there's so much drama going on in the comedy scene. And it's like, okay, so there was a comedian, we won't say his name, but we were at open mic, and it was just a bunch of us comedians. So while he's performing, me and my comedian friend Yolanda Smiles, we thought of a tag for the joke. And I was like, oh yeah, and then something else he could say, da da da. So he's like, on stage, oh, you guys are talking during my performance. And we're like, we're talking about we're thinking of a tag for you. And he's like, he was offended. Like, I don't need that.
I've asked other comedians, I think Kelsey Claire Hagan, who I had on, I asked her if she gets offended if someone suggests another punchline, or, like you said, a tag, or a different part of the joke changing. Like, if somebody came to you after your show and said, I really think this is funny, I had the same experience, and I thought it was funny that this happened to me, maybe you could use that as a punchline in addition to what you have, or giving you some kind of criticism.
That's how it works, though.
That's what I would think.
That's how it works. That's how it goes. So the reason why, and this is what these comedians don't even understand, is why are we here performing every week in front of each other, two other comedians? There's no audience members here. Okay, well, let's help each other.
Right.
Let's think of tags. Let's help each other out. Why are we performing each week in front of 6 comedians? Because we're not building and helping each other. What is the... What's the purpose?
Yeah, I've been saying that Rochester needs not a. I don't think people are doing things that I would think would be wrong and I would do different. I don't think it needs an overhaul and flush everything out and start over. But everything else in Rochester, if done correctly, it prospers.
Exactly.
The beer market, the craft beer scene, food is, there's a lot of food bloggers around that everybody's helping everybody promote. And I think comedy is just staying at that stagnant level. And I don't know what it was like when you started because I wasn't living here, but even over the last couple of years, I don't think it's gone anywhere. Besides Comedy at the Carlson, big venue, professional, and bringing in big acts and stuff. But even like when Seidenfeld came, I think last year, he didn't go there. He went to a theater, obviously.
Of course.
He's bigger.
Yeah.
But so there are multiple avenues for big performances. It's just that the farm system starting in Rochester and trying to become as big as those names, I think it's a little slow.
But then we look at something like the fact that we are on Comedy Central. So,
oh yeah, talk about how you. I don't want to blow up the way you would deliver the story, but talk about that huge accomplishment that you not only did for yourself but brought to the city.
So yeah, so this is what. Okay, well, let me just say this. So we Rochester, we did do a show that's produced by Kevin Hart called Hart of the City. Okay, boom. But it's about Rochester. It's about the comedy scene in Rochester. 28 comedians auditioned, and they only picked 3 of us. They filmed the auditions and then they sent it. And I think the top 3 best auditions got it. It was, rightful. So I'm really good at, saying that. I think that out of the auditions, out of the top 3, I wasn't the best. Like it was like, I might make it, I might not.
Oh.
Those 2, they killed. You know what I mean? But the fact that we did this show, Rochester comedy scene, they haven't embraced it at all. It's not, they don't care. There's like, it's a little, I put it in the group like, hey, we're on Comedy Central tonight. No one, it's like a little bit, I don't know what people are feeling, but it's a big deal for Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big deal for the comedy scene in here. It could have whatever, but people don't want to.
But somebody mentions Garbage Plate on the Tonight Show, and everybody shares the 8-second clip.
Exactly.
It's interesting.
Exactly.
It's interesting.
It's because it's us, and it's because it's us, and it's more of the black comedy scene. Mm-hmm. Even though there was a bunch of white comedians who auditioned, and some people were okay or were good. I think that Madeline Smith.
Yes,
I think that or Kelsey, one of those,
mm-hmm.
if they were in town, I think that they definitely probably would have been one that was chosen, but it just so
opportunity.
happened.
Sure.
I think that there's such a divide in Rochester with the black comedy scene and the white comedy scene.
Ever since, and maybe you know who this is, but there was I don't want to misquote it, and I wish I had a chance to look it up. I should have before the show, but there was I don't know if it was a black comedy contest or I don't know how it was phrased, but the punchline is that a white guy won. I think out in L.A. or somewhere in the West Coast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
You're talking about Gary Owens.
Gary Owens, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know more than I do about this?
Yeah, he won. He won the funniest person in the black comedy contest. Yeah.
Yeah. Ever since that, you'd think that. I mean, again, it wasn't this gigantic movement in comedy, but separation. There's what's the point of having something like black and white comedy in a place like Rochester?
It's just the different scenes. It's just that. The white scene is I'm starting to get more into that because I started out doing white rooms only. I was at Comics Cafe. I had never performed in front of a black room. Once I did, I got booed my first time because I was speaking in still about white topics. So I learned I got the blacks. And now I'm working back to.
You know how different it would be if I said that phrase? I got the blacks.
And you can say that though.
There's
I got the blacks.
There's vengeance behind it.
People get offended all the time when I say the blacks, the whites, the Puerto Rican. I don't care, but
good.
Yeah, I got them. So now my focus now is to get my whites back. I've been performing at the Carlson.
Okay.
Because I'm Hood Bourbon. That's the name of my comedy album.
Hood Bourbon. Yeah,
I'm from the hood. And I'm from the suburbs. I'm half my life in the hood, half my life in the suburbs. So I can speak all of that. And then when I came back to the hood, the blacks wouldn't play with me because I was too white. I have a white American dialect still, a little bit of it. So the Puerto Ricans, because I was beautiful, the Puerto Ricans let me be their friend. So for years I was Puerto Rican. So
Wow.
now, yeah, and then I came back to the black. So now I'm back black, but I still have a voice of all these people. These are all my audiences, and I can do a Puerto Rican room, I can do a black room, I can do an all white room, and that's what I'm trying to,
Did you go from Joel to Joel to Yoel? You changed from black to Puerto
Joel
Rican?
is already the. My name was Joelito.
Oh, there you go. I knew there was a change.
There
It
was
had
a
to be.
name in the
You're like
change.
a comedy
I was-
chameleon.
Exactly. I was Joel, Joel,
And-
and then Joelito, and now I'm back to Joel.
Okay. All right. Very
I feel
cool.
like we're going all over the place. I'm talking in tangent.
That's all right. That's what this medium's for. We don't have commercials. We don't have songs to play. We don't have program directors. We do what we want here.
Yeah.
Joke writing. I know it's a basic ask a comedian thing, but I saw you do a joke, and I'll put a clip up right now.
Online, the bitch that went in the zoo cage with the lion, that was the Bronx Zoo. Y'all seen the lion was scared? Like, bitch, what are you doing? She was like, the lion looked to the side of the other lion like, do you see this bitch? And you know the bitch was crazy. When she started dancing, there was no music. It was like, real ass bitch.
So that joke was super topical. It was the joke about the woman who snuck into the lion.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That wasn't a joke.
Well, no, your stand-up.
But it wasn't a joke. It was just commentary.
Yeah, but it was funny and it was super topical. Something like that, coming up with that. Do you just go, I'm going to just go on stage and try to make this funny like I would do it for my aunt or...
I learned from Cat Williams not too long ago that it's not about, because I'm a real joke writer. I love punchline. I love the premise. I love all of that. It's a book called The Comedy Bible too. I don't know if it's the best thing. I tell every comedian to get it. And it teaches you how to write jokes. And I really, because I'm a writer, so I love writing jokes. But I've learned from Cat Williams that it's not about what you're saying. It's about you and how you're saying it. I didn't say anything. I didn't say a joke at all. I just said, I just did an act out, and it was the way I was saying that made the audience fast. Like the bitch, and then the fucking lion looked over like, is this bitch serious? Like, so it's just the way I said it.
You're personifying you're personifying the lion, excuse me, and you're flipping it as if the lion
was scared of her.
was scared of her.
Yeah.
And that just comes naturally now that you've been writing jokes for all these years?
Yeah. Yeah, I know, because I'm just putting me, I'm just being my comedic self and how I would feel about that. Yeah, because people in the Bronx are crazy as fuck. That's where I said, and that was just a clip of it. I said that the actual, in the zoo, they're protecting the animals away from the damn people. That's,
yeah, that's funny,
exactly.
man.
So I guess, I don't know. That wasn't it. And that was my first time trying that out there.
Oh, it's great.
It was because I was headlining, and you just need to kill it the whole time.
Break down the wall. I mean, the story came out, it went viral. I don't know if it was your first show since you saw it or whatever, but you not only did it at the gig while you were headlining it killed, and you turned around a video of it so fast. You know what I mean? So your video complemented their original video like that, which makes you seem probably 10 times bigger than you actually are, which is what you always strive for. You know what I mean? You have a producer, you have a crew with you, you have a film, you have all these things. And that stuff, I think, is what puts comedians or anybody in any medium to the next level, is turning it around and to be on the pulse of what everybody else is talking about.
Yeah, that's how you get viral and you get those things. So I'm trying to do that more with my stand-up, because a lot of comedians who I follow are doing that, especially in white comedians. There's really no black comedians that are putting their stand-up bits out and maybe doing a caption and all that. So I'm trying to do that more, just to build up my following and bookings and all that stuff. But it's a lot of work.
Do you think it is a lot of work? Do you think there's too soon to talk about topical things? Not in a way where it's offensive or sensitive, but like when I used to work in radio, I would know topics immediately, because I would surf the news every day, local news, and then figure out something funny to say on the air. And then when I was doing the open mic at the same time, I would try to do those jokes. And I feel like sometimes they would fall flat because nobody would know what I'm talking about yet.
Sometimes it just depends, but when nobody really knows what you're talking about. But now in this world where it's a viral video, everybody has seen it. You know, it's just that's just kind of how it works. But I used to do only pop culture back in those days, and when I first started, and that was hard for me because once it's old, nobody's talking about it anymore. But you just can kind of switch the name of to like if I'm talking about Paris Hilton. All my Paris Hilton jokes are now go to the Kardashians.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like the same type of thing.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I do. But I don't do like topical comedy anymore.
Have you been burned by anything, quote, offensive that you
yes,
that you said? Yeah.
All the time. All the time. And I don't give a fuck. And that's just kind of how you do. I will never, ever, ever, ever apologize for a joke. I don't give a fuck. Last night I got called transphobic because there's a comedian, right? I'm violent. I'm a little ghetto, right? I'm hood bourbon. The hood side of me, I am a violent person. I love to fucking slap somebody in the fucking face. When it's warranted, you know what I mean?
Sure, it's all when it's warranted.
I don't think that men should hit women, right?
Of course not.
But I said, if I identified as transgender for one day, would I be able to whoop this girl's ass?
Okay, it's a funny premise.
No, I'm dead ass serious. So my friend's like, I'm offended by that, and that's completely transphobic. How the fuck is that transphobic?
Let me try to think in like your friend. Maybe you're trivializing transitioning. You know what I mean? Maybe they're offended because they don't want you to think, oh, flip of the switch. I can. Well,
maybe I might like it, bitch. Maybe I want to stay a fucking.
No free samples.
I still am say tranny. I'm not, and this is what I could. This is a joke that I'm working on too, and I don't even know if I should say it. So, and it gets me so mad, and this is how I know my genius is because every time I do a joke and do this writing, like Dave Chappelle, everything on his special is shit that I say. It's the same shit. He's just Dave Chappelle. There's certain things that I have to take out my act now because Dave Chappelle just did it on his fucking special.
That's why you got to put up more video content. Get
right, exactly. Get that shit out. But I believe, or it wasn't even Dave Chappelle. I think it was Bill Burr. But I believe it was both of their shits. I watched them back to back.
Yeah, because they came out like within 2 weeks of each other.
That the whole shit of being so sensitive. Well, this is what I want to say. Back in the days, the whites had to be included to we can't see. The only word you couldn't say before was the N-word. You couldn't say the N-word. That's what you couldn't say. Now you can't say shit because whites were like, fuck that. If we can't say the N-word, then you can't say the R-word. And you can't say tranny. And you can't say all this shit you can't say because you guys wanted to be included in the fucking the words you can't say.
You think it?
That is exactly what happened. And it's all white women. White women are the most offended bitches that's ever fucking lived.
Whitney Cummings has a great joke about that too. She talks about, I'm not going to do it justice, but she talks about how one day a white man or men in general asked women what they think, and they weren't ready for that question because they never cared before. So they huddled up and went all the way to the other side about being feminists and stuff like that. Yeah. It's kind of the same thing. But back to the your friend getting upset about the transphobic thing that you said. You should write a joke, or someone should, about how you could try to be the opposite gender for one day, but it's like signing a gym membership. If there's a cancellation fee,
I like that.
If you don't like being there, you could quit, but you got to pay that cancellation fee.
I like that. That's a good one.
I thought about that earlier. Yeah. So I mean, it's tough. I think it's pretty tough being a comedian unless you say unless you're like you, where you don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck at all, and I know they're probably going to cancel me eventually. So I plan on getting rental properties, having business. I always got to be an entrepreneur because I know with a person like me who I don't give a fuck. Oh well, I'm gonna say tranny. I'm gonna say the whites. Because I don't. There's no malice behind it. It's just. We were out the other day, and we were talking. We were at a bar, the Spirit Room, and my friend goes, "Oh, because I want what she has," and the bartender goes, "Excuse me, Sarah identifies as them or they, and not her or him." So I said, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
So she's more than one person?
You never heard them or they?
If she's more,
People, they don't identify as man or woman, so you have to call them or they.
But saying it is offensive. Let's what? Pass me the water bottle. Pass me them water bottles. Like
And I just like, how am I even supposed to fucking say this? So I was gonna say the girl, or they. It's so fucking confusing and all this shit. And I think that Dave Chappelle did something where he brought it back though. He gave us, because comedy was almost dying. It takes pioneers to not give a fuck and say, fucking well.
I love it. I love comedy, and I think that it's going to be the saving grace for this cancel culture, and everybody's so wound up. I'm even like personally being affected by it. I don't get offended by anything. You could say anything you want right now. I really wouldn't get offended.
I don't get offended either, and I don't really. I also think the blacks. I think that we're getting way too sensitive about shit. It's like, calm the fuck on.
Have more weapons in your arsenal than I'm offended, right? Like say something, trick somebody so you can make them look stupid. If they're trying to make you look stupid, like where's the fun of interaction and culture and people anymore? I find it funny when I hear, I think it was Jim Brewer on Bert Kreischer's podcast. He goes, I just love people. I'm like, I don't. Like I used to, but
me too.
Conversations in general in private have a humongous risk to them. And people will argue and say, well, just don't be racist, don't be sexist, don't be whatever. It's like, it's too risky to even have a conversation with a stranger, I think, anymore and that's why I built this podcast studio, to have more conversations with strangers every week.
I think you guys had talked about it before, where the guy, I think that's what you were talking about on Saturday Night Live, where he got from that podcast where he said this the Asian joke, and then they fired him from a joke.
He was emulating a racist developer. So he was doing an impression of what, like if I said something, if you said something, like the Holocaust, and I go, kill the Jews or something like that, but I don't do a good enough Nazi impression or German impression, that's the same context he was doing that in. He was pretending to be a racist building developer in Chinatown back in the day, but he didn't do an impression, which would have got him canceled anyway for doing an impression of another race. Yeah. So it's just, with all the risk.
It's fucked up.
It's fucked up.
This guy lost his freaking dream job because of that podcast shit. Somebody went and found that up and put it out there in Twitter, and now it's trending, cancel. Like, this is bullshit. It makes me sometimes like, I don't even want to be involved in this shit.
No?
Yeah, the older I get, the more I'm like, I don't want to do this shit. Because I think I'm too real for it. Like, I have to do it because there's nothing else I want to do. I love it, whatever, but I just don't want to deal with the people and the bullshit and all that. I don't give a fuck.
It's tough because I would love to write jokes that are just completely off the wall, that come out, that people go, oh my God, that's funny, and I'm embarrassed to be laughing at that because it's kind of raunchy. But I know that's not even possible anymore. I know that if I go into an open mic situation, I have to write a joke about Wegmans or traffic or all this basic stuff, and it's challenging, right, to be in that box, in those boundaries, to still try to excel, which is good, I guess. But there's no more, well, I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about, and I don't care what anybody thinks, unless you're saying different. This is what you do, right?
Yeah.
That's what you do.
That's exactly what it is. And that's what you have to do, because there is still comedians who are underground, who still say some of the most craziest shit ever. And it's only when you're at a big top level that it gets, it could get you canceled or whatever.
Why isn't Chappelle in trouble? I mean, he's in trouble socially.
Because he doesn't give a fuck.
And he sells out arenas.
You can't. You always going to do that. I remember Joan Rivers, when the girls were in the basement for 10 years.
Cleveland or something like that.
Yeah, Joan Rivers made a joke and said she was living with Melissa, and those girls had more space in their room than in Melissa. So the girls and their lawyers wanted her to apologize, and TMZ had caught up to her and said, Joan, they want you to apologize. Are you going to apologize? She said, fuck no. Those bitches got to live rent-free for 10 years.
She doubled down.
Yes! And I was like, that is the energy that I am going to keep for the rest of my fucking life.
That's what comedians should do. Comedians should be like when a professional football player retires, or even is anywhere in an atmosphere that isn't the actual game, right? If I hand Josh Allen a tennis ball, and there's a garbage can 50 yards away, and he tosses it in the garbage can. TMZ goes up to him, goes, "Hey, Josh, can you throw this in the garbage?" And he tosses it, and he nails it. And wow, that's what that should be, because Joan Rivers is throwing that tennis ball in the garbage can from 50 yards away in a comedian's world, right?
Yeah.
Somebody comes up to her with a topic that, of course, she talked about already, but she wasn't expecting to make a joke, but she's so good, she could do it on the spot when asked.
Yeah.
And that should be celebrated, just like the Josh Allen hypothetical example should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is discouraging, but people like you still doing it. People like my favorites, like Andrew Schultz is one of my favorites. I don't know if you're familiar with his, but he's
I love him.
I'm
so jealous of his stand-up clips, because they get like, I put out a clip and it'll get maybe like 1,000 views, and his will get like 100,000 in a freaking.
You know what he would say? He would say, "I used to get 1,000 views too." He would say this. It's.
I know that. I follow him and I do it and I do all that and I get his career and all that. But I'm just like, oh, that's where it gets down, where I have so much good content and so many people. So now this is where I'm at. Now I did the Comedy Central. I'm there and I'm trying to get in the industry, get in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm good at that. I know how to do it. I know how to get I know how to get in a space that I want to be in.
Yeah.
But I'm forgetting, like, there's rules to this now. There's my first day in New York City. I got to hang out with at the Comedy Cellar.
My favorite comedy club.
Me too. I want to perform there so bad. So I got there. The comedians invited me to hang out, and I was with everybody. I was with everybody who has a special, everybody who has whatever, and I'm just like the new, whatever. My friend's introducing me. A comedian friend is introducing me to everybody. This is Joel. He's on Hart of the City. Da 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 da. Everybody's cool. They're nice. Da da. So I'm having a good time. But I want to get pictures and stuff with people, but I have to be in the moment, in the situation. So all of a sudden, I'm sitting down. There's a guy next to me, and another person walks up, and then my comedian friend goes, "Hey, this is Joel from Hart of the City, Comedy Central." So the guy next to me stands up. He stands over me and he's like, fuck Comedy Central. I mean, fuck Hart of the City. That shit doesn't mean anything. Fuck Kevin Hart. Stop introducing him as that shit. Da 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 da. Now, my first thing to do, I'm a lion, is she goes, "Oh," I go, "What the fuck just happened here?" And she goes, "Oh no, I'll take care of it." And I go, "No, I'll take fucking care of it." And I just went the fuck off. And I went off on like, motherfucker, I don't give a fuck if she wants to introduce me as Joel from fucking Harlem or whatever. Who gives a fuck? You guys have been in this industry. Y'all done did a lot of shit. Don't down my shit. I don't, I start going off.
Right.
And it gets completely awkward. She's like,
it's hard to make comedians awkward, especially a group of them at one of the best comedy clubs in New York City. So congratulations on that.
So one of guys, Sherrod Small, who I enjoy.
Oh yeah.
He goes, "Oh, I like him." But everybody else, they were like, ugh. It was really, really awkward. So she goes, "Oh, maybe you shouldn't have did that." And I'm like, "Oh shit, I didn't even know." And she was like, "That's kind of how he is. This is what he does."
You got to tell me who this comedian was after the show. I want to.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So I was like, "This is what he does, and this and this and that, and da da da." And I didn't know who he. I didn't really know who he was. I knew he looked familiar. So she left. Everybody left me. It was just done at that moment. I was like, damn, I fucked up. But later on, earlier, I went up to this lady. She was talking about karaoke. And I just went up to her and was like, "Oh, I love karaoke." And I started singing Mariah Carey, "Vision of Love." And she was like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Joel." And she was like, my friend goes, "Yeah, he's on Hart of the City." And she goes, "Oh yeah, I should have recognized you." And I'm like, this shit didn't even come out yet. At that time, I was like, so fake, so Hollywood. She was like, "Give me your email." I give her my email. And then she emails me the next day and says, "Hey, do you have any time to come down to the Comedy Central headquarters and do some promo?" And she was like, "I don't know what's available." So I was like, who is this lady? So this is real. So I Google her name, and she is the CEO of talent development at Comedy Central.
Damn.
Yeah, so I ended up getting to go down there. I did the Chris DiStefano podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that was really cool. So guess what? So this is where the moment. So he's like, "Oh," and I was like, "Chris, I met him that night too." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I really don't remember." And he was like, they were cool with you or whatever. He was like, "When you get down there, or when you're hanging down there, the comedian, he's gonna bust your balls. He's gonna talk shit to you, but just like ignore him. the comedian who went off of me. And I was like, well, this is too fucking late. I wish somebody would have told me. But I don't know how to accept that. I guess I was supposed to. It was so difficult for me because I guess I was supposed to just like laugh it off or something.
See, my reaction, just not even being a comedian, maybe an aspiring comedian one day, but my reaction is, as his insult or whatever he or she is saying at the time, is to find, like Terminator mode, find that he missed a belt loop, find that his shirt's on something, undress him. Or get a jab in or something. They were ragging on me.
Yeah. They were ragging on me all night, and it was cool. And that's funny. It's whatever.
That's that world, right?
But once it got, because I don't really do that. That's not my thing. But once I felt like it got violent to me, but it didn't. But in my head, it did.
Well, if there's no punchline, if he's just telling you that you suck,
he's like fuck. But that's what he does. And
yeah.
I don't even want to say who he is, but it's what he does. It's what there's been comedians who this is who he is. There's been comedians who talk about this is what he does. He talks shit to you. He does that, and I just feel like damn, I fucked up. But I'm learning. That was just a business learning experience.
Sure.
Of.
I'm sure what you did was memorable though, at the least, which may be good or bad one day. But
it was. I will always be able to tell this story, and I hope to. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna try to hang out with them again, and it's called hanging because this is what you do. They were testing my hang, so this I guess and that's not what I am. I'm not. I don't really give a fuck about you guys to hang to see if you accept me or not. I don't do that. I don't care.
And it's all ball busting or busting chops or whatever you want to call it. That's all it is there, right? That's what I'm assuming is.
Yeah.
Every chance anybody gets, they're ball busting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I don't do that, but I'll accept it. But I don't know. I fucked up.
Yeah, well, good luck having that conversation next time. You got to keep us updated.
I'm going back. Every time I go to New York, I try to hang out with them again. Like, hey, I'm in town. And they're like, oh, we're busy.
Yeah, we're busy sitting at the same table we were 20 years ago.
You're kind of giving me Tony Danza.
Tony Danza?
I don't know. Your face just gave me young Tony.
I guess I'll take that. Okay. He was a little bit of a heartthrob, right?
Yeah.
Joel, thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you for having me.
Where are you going to be this weekend or in the next couple days?
I am Friday. I have 2 shows at Photo City. Called Friday. It's the theme is from Friday the movie, 7:00 and 10:00. On the 19th, I'm judging the Miss Curvy New York pageant, and on the 20th, I am in Brockport at Body by Summer. I'm heading.
Very good, Joel. Thank you so much. If we have to find you or want to find you on social media to see those clips you're going to consistently put out, so you can get on that level. Yeah. Where are we finding you?
At Joel James Comedy, or Joel if you're a white American. At Joel James Comedy.
All right. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.